Again with Action News reporter John Crane, who's standing by live in Portland. John, you were on the story right from the very beginning.
John Crane is a news personality who worked at News Channel 8 and is recently working on My Generation. Come along as he talks about his experiences in broadcasting.
That's a real behind-the-scenes look for you, isn't it?
John Crane wanted to be a news anchor because he loved to tell stories.
My mother used to tell a story of when I would get off the bus at the end of the day from school, and I was in kindergarten. It would take me an hour to get from the front of my driveway, the 100 feet to my front door, because if I saw anybody on the street, I would talk to them, tell them everything about my day, and report on all of it.
He is well known on News Channel 8 in Connecticut, but that was not his first station he worked at.
The first television station I worked at was in New Hampshire, and it was a public television station that had a federal grant to do nightly news. And then I worked at stations in California, Northern California, a little town called Eureka, which was ranked the 282nd market in the United States out of like 283 markets. Okay, that's how small it was. A community of 22,000 on the north coast of California, right on the Oregon border. That was weird. And it was tons of fun, too. And then I went to Indiana and lived in the Midwest, and that was a great experience. And then Virginia, living in the South. Woo, totally different experience. The best station to work at, out of all the places that I've worked, was a station in Miami called WTVJ. It was owned by the NBC television network. Miami was the best news market in the country. And the reason why? Everything happens in Miami. So all of the drug wars of the 1980s, when I worked there, was taking place there. All the battles in Central America were being staged out of Miami with the Contras and the problems with Nicaragua, etc., and other places. Everything in the world was happening or coming through and happening through Miami.
This is Jack Schubert from Whitney Farms. He's nothing but trouble, let me tell you. But it's the kind of trouble we like.
Seeing yourself on TV, it's weird. And hearing yourself is weird. And even though I've been doing it for more than 30 years, it's still weird.
Police, rewind! Get down! Get down!
Every day, news anchors are on the scene covering the toughest and most disturbing of stories. And John Crane was no different. When the station needs him to cover a news story happening at a certain area at a certain time, you'll know that he'll be on the scene and cover everything that is occurring right in front of his eyes.
If you listen very closely, you will hear for yourself the split-second life and death decisions these people have to make.
The most life-threatening story that he's ever covered was in Miami, where a riot broke out after police shot an innocent person.
We were surrounded, literally surrounded by rioters. Ran and hid behind a wall of police officers in full riot gear who were screaming, "Incoming, incoming." Literally, rocks, bottles, Molotov cocktails, bullets, everything raining upon us. And the police looked at us and said, "I hope your life insurance is paid up. And if I were you, after 6 shots, I'd get out of here."
Come on, John! Go, go, go! Give me a car, give me a car, give me... Hey!
We almost lost our lives, and it was frightening.
Oh, great.
Damn it.
What the fuck's wrong?
The car is fucking dead, man. God damn it.
The way you feel when you witness these kinds of events as a news reporter, as a journalist, you have a wall between you and the event as it's happening. Because if you react as a human being, it'd be really hard to do your job. And there are thousands of people counting on you to convey the news, what's happening.
Events can unfold in a split second. A flash of violence, and there's no time to mull over what to do.
He left the broadcasting world to settle down, but a new opportunity brought him back.
Last year I went back into the television industry as a correspondent for My Generation on PBS, and I got a Daytime Emmy nomination for my very first story on the monkey Peter Tork, who's a wild and crazy guy. Doing the hard news helped me to understand people, taught me the value of listening, and also the value of asking all sorts of questions without any fear of being judged. Whether it's lifestyle reporting or news reporting, there are no silly questions.
Today, he is still working as an interviewer for My Generation, continuing to interview people in their interesting lifestyles. Although his legacy as a news anchor shall never be forgotten, he leaves with this important message to anyone who wants a career in broadcasting.
Within the world of broadcasting, there's so many things, from being a writer, being a producer, a researcher, an editor. Each one is a craft. Each one is their own art. Each one brings with it its own passions. So tap into your passions. Figure out who you are. I was the guy they couldn't get to stop talking, so of course I had to go on the air. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for fame. Don't do it for power. People whose, sole pursuit is those things usually don't end up all that well. Follow your passions.
Wake up tomorrow morning. No, upside down, John. No, not the paper, you.